all the stuff that I didn't finish making in 2025. So buckle in. Hey everyone, I'm Haley. This is Bitter Kitten Crafts. I am coming to you from snowy Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and this is my cat Boo. And today we're going to talk about all the WIPs I've got on my needles, which is kind of a lot. I'm not normally somebody to have like 8 or 9 outstanding WIPs on my needles like I do right now, but I do somehow, probably because of our move and just all the transitions like going on with the new year. I just haven't gotten around to finishing all my projects, but I don't want to frog any of them. So I kind of just want to go through them all with you and show you what I've been working on and what my next step is and why I stalled out, and I'll let you know whether or not I'm enjoying working on the project, whether or not you might enjoy the pattern. I'm kind of going to go in the order of most recently cast on to most distantly cast on, most days on my needles. And I do have a couple projects that if you watch my channel like literally a year ago, you probably saw me cast these on, and I never finished them. And this is my cat Boo, and yeah, that's it. So let's go ahead and start, because otherwise I'm just gonna keep rambling. So my most recently cast on project doesn't look like a lot because I really did just recently cast it on like 2 or 3 days ago. And this is so far what I've got for the Stella quilt cushion. So this is a pattern by Penrose. It is a blanket and a pillow cover pattern that she has, and I'm doing the pillow cover, and my goal was to do a 24 by 24 inch pillow cover because that's the size like pillow I already have in my house, which is a little bit larger than the pattern. So I've kind of been going slightly off script, and I'm not sure whether or not I should start over. So I don't know how clear it is in this camera screen, but in person you can really tell. So this square is 6 inches, which would be the perfect size for my 24 by 24 inch pillow, and this square is only 5.5 by 5.5 inches. And I don't know, obviously I think the green yarn is like a little finer gauge than the white yarn, and this yarn is all acrylic, by the way. This is Lion Brand Heartland, and I have 4 colors of it. So I've got like kind of a primary color scheme going on for this project. And my plan is to make the pillow cover and also the blanket to match. We did just move here into this beautiful new house. Well, we're renting, but we have this awesome house, and there's very much like a, you know, kind of rural, snowy winter vibe going on, and I kind of really liked the primary colors feeding into that sort of log cabin, the house is made of wood, you know, snowy cottage vibe. So I really wanted to lean into the primary colors. Here's a graphic that's included in the pattern that I kind of used to map out my color schemes. I did choose motif 1 for the pillow. I just really liked how it looked, and with my primary colors I really thought it kind of popped. And this white, the Lion Brand Homeland white was like kind of like weirdly like marled, like the blue is also marled, so I really didn't like it. So I went with Loops and Thread Soft Classic from Michaels. This is the like less than $5 kind of yarn, you know. So this altogether, this project cost me like less than $30 with my Michaels coupons, and including the blanket, the project will be like less than $60 for the blanket and the pillow together, because all of this yarn that I have for the pillow, I only need like very little. Like, see, I already knit this. I only need very little per skein, so I should have enough with 2 of each color in this ball, and I have a second one to knit the entire Sweet Shop blanket for a twin size bed and the pillow cover. That was kind of a tangent. Anyways, I'm really enjoying this pattern so far. I'm not much of a short rows person like in my typical knitting experience, but this is like very much a project knit for me, not a process knit, and I'm really excited for the finished product because it just matches like the decor in my house really nicely. But I'm also excited to have this pattern in my library because I will definitely be making a second pillow cover out of scraps, out of sock yarn scraps. So for now, I'm kind of like stuck on this part where I just did this a couple days ago, and then I realized they were different sizes and I put it down. And the next step would be to attach another square here, like right here. And I'm just not sure if I should frog it, but I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna press onwards and steam it out, and hopefully this will kind of steam out to be the same size. It is acrylic, so I don't really know, but we'll find out together. And so far, yeah, I'm really excited for how the final object will look. But that's the Stella quilt cushion. All right, my next most recently cast on project is also not looking super impressive at the moment. This is, like I said, not looking very impressive, but I did cast on a hat. So this is going to be the Mudlark sweater hat, which is a very recent release. I got it for free on Ravelry like last week. It's by McClure, and it is like a honeycomb. I'll put a photo. It's like a honeycomb cabled hat. And I have been looking for a hat to knit with this yarn for a very long time. So this is some of what I would consider to be the most beautiful yarn I have in my stash. This is from Gurdy Run Woolen Mill, which is in Pennsylvania. And I got this at the Maryland Alpaca Festival a couple years ago. It's like a Sari silk, so it's a recycled Sari silk tweed yarn combined with sheep from their farm at Gurdy Run. And I think I'll maybe try to insert a photo of like what this yarn looks like in the sun, because I don't know if this little clip is like doing it justice, but holy cow, this yarn's so beautiful. You can really see all the rainbow little bits in the sunlight. And I knitted up, I knit a swatch out of this, and I just wasn't liking, like the gauge was too loose for my initial plan for it. So I kind of pivoted to knitting this hat. This isn't something I'm sure and confident that I'm gonna finish. I guess this is like probably the only frog of this whole situation, finisher frog video. Nothing to do with the pattern. I mean, it's literally just a honeycomb cable beanie. You know, it's not like a super intricate pattern, but I just feel like this yarn deserves to shine. It's just it's so stunning, and it really deserves to shine. And I couldn't afford more than one ball when I was at the Maryland Alpaca Festival, so I ended up with just one. And part of me wants to like save it for color work or try to acquire more of this yarn and make a sweater, because I feel like a little hat out of this yarn just like wouldn't even see the light of day enough, because I already have hats. But that's, maybe if you have any suggestions, like drop them below. I really feel like this yarn deserves like a spotlight. Okay, my next most recent cast on is honestly, I think, a little bit more exciting. It is finally a garment. So I'm working on the Throwover by Andrea Mowry, and it's going really well. It's lumpy. Let's see, how can I, it's so cute. The colors I chose, I'm so happy with. And yeah, this is the Throwover by Andrea Mowry. I started this in like the last week of January, and I kind of just, as is typical for me, I like blew through the yoke, and then I split for sleeves, and then I put a pin in it and cast on those other two projects I just showed you. So that's kind of how it goes with me. I think a lot of us are that way. Like once you reach the stockinette part, you're kind of like, that was fun. You know, but now the boring part begins. So I'm going on a long car ride this afternoon, so I'm planning to bring this project with me to my husband's appointment and just like knit on it in the drive and in the waiting room, and hopefully that will kind of knock out a big chunk of the stockinette body. The yarn that I chose is Cascade 220 Superwash. So let me hold this a little closer. So I have 4 colors of Cascade 220 in here. The brown base color, the main color, is chocolate. And then I've got the green is Lake Chelan Heather, which I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Lake Chelan Heather. Okay, so Lake Chelan Heather, Antique White, Light Iris, and then chocolate. And that's all below if you need more info about it. I kind of don't like spending a long time on colors, so sorry I did that. But this is my second time knitting this pattern. I'm knitting size 50-inch bust because my bust size is 48.5 inches. And the previous one I knit like the exact same specs, like same size, same needle size, but I knit like a white version that's short sleeve. Maybe I'll put a picture. And so I wanted like a dark, like a more wintry appropriate version rather than the spring version I knitted, which was like white and purple. And this is exactly fitting the bill. I tried it on, it fits perfectly, it fits just as nicely as the other one. If you've never used any of the yarns in the Cascade 220 family, I highly recommend them. I'm using Superwash for this one only because I bought it during, like, Lovecrafts had like a big sale on Cascade 220, like 30% off. And so the only colorways that were left, like the only brown that was left was Superwash, but otherwise, the non-Superwash version is really nice and like not that itchy. The Superwash version is obviously like less itchy, and then they also have a Superwash merino version, which I have a sweater quantity upstairs of in like a charcoal, and that one obviously is like the softest of all, but also the most pilly. But yeah, this yarn is really like a workhorse staple. I was really excited to choose my colors based on like kind of a vintage ski sweater type vibe, and it really fits well into my wardrobe. This sweater, I don't know, I know like people get really excited about like the new cool hip design coming out, but I really love some of the designs that came out like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, and I'm like still not at the point where I have all of them in my wardrobe that I want. So I get way less excited by like a new pattern and more excited by something that will fit in my wardrobe, even though, you know, this sweater was released I think in like 2021. Like, she's still really cute. So that's this one. The next time you see this, it will definitely be finished. Please. I can't leave the sleeves on my needles all month. Kind of getting into my backlog a little bit of stuff that I really just didn't end up finishing and like put a pin in. All the stuff I just showed, those are like my active WIPs, but these now, this next kind of section is going to be the much less active WIPs, the ones I like maybe haven't touched in months. And let's start off strong with My Little Secret by Jessie Maed. So if you, oopsies, I just lost all my stitches. If you have watched my channel before, like, I've knit this pattern so many times now, I'm sure that, yeah, like I said, if you've watched my channel, you've seen this pattern. If you've watched other people's channels, you've probably also seen this pattern. It's very cute. It's very straightforward, right? It's literally a tube. This is a pattern that I would go back to, and I have gone back to, like I said, a lot of times. You knit a 3x3 ribbing, like, tube, and then you knit the front, and then you knit the straps. And the straps, every time I've knit this pattern, has been where I've gotten held up. Not because it's, like, particularly hard, obviously, it's just, like, double knitting, but it is particularly tedious. So just kind of like the stats on this, again, I'm 48.5 inch bust. I knit the size that is adjacent to my bust size, so I knit a size large, just because this yarn is like a little thicker, and I've knit XL in the past with like DK weight yarn, but this is definitely more of like a worsted Aran, so I went down a size. This yarn is looking kind of sad, sorry, but this is the Caron Blossom Cakes yarn. So oh, I guess this is a better way to show the color. I'll deal with that later. So this is, it's like a acrylic and cotton blend from Michaels. This is one of my favorite summer yarns, like, ever. I have knit a full sweater out of this yarn. I've knit 3 or 4 My Little Secret crops out of it, and, like, in different colors. It's machine washable. It doesn't pill. It doesn't stretch. Every time you put it in the dryer, it, like, snaps right back to its shape. There's literally no complaints I have about this yarn. The color selection is stunning. I have another, oops, this project has been sitting for so long that it's like kind of in shambles, but yeah, I have another ball of this yarn in like a green and blue color to knit like another identical tank top, so this will get done. I put this on pause just because like the straps are insanely fiddly and annoying, and it was like September and it was not getting any warmer, obviously, and now here we are in New England. Like, I won't be able to wear this puppy till like June, so it's kind of like I'll finish it when the time is right, and when it's finally warm enough, probably I'll just spend one afternoon like hammering out these 2 straps, but for now there's no point, to be honest. So this one is not at the top of my priority list, although look at the colors, they're so good. So this is, it's like kind of a self-striping-ish kind of yarn, you can kind of tell, but it's not, what's the word, like the stripes don't pattern in a certain way. It's kind of like a random patterning. So my next garment is also one that's been on the back burner for like quite some time. It's a fingering weight cardigan, and in my previous climate where I used to live in DC, it was like warmer. Like, it was significantly warmer, which is like kind of obvious, right? Like, I mean, DC is obviously warmer than like New England, which is classically freezing freaking cold, but I didn't know, you know, I was like unprepared. So in my previous life where I lived, I would knit fingering weight tees, I would knit fingering weight long sleeve sweaters, because that was what was like appropriate. It never really got below 40. Here, it has yet to hit 40 in like over a month. It hasn't even hit 40 degrees. So I've been like woefully underprepared. So this sweater went on the back burner because it's literally so cold. I can't even wear this sweater. Like, I could probably wear this sweater for like a month in September, maybe October, and then the sweater's done because it's just too cold here. But with that being said, I still want to finish it because the yarn is so cute. So this is the Ankers cardigan by Petite knit. This is my only Petite knit pattern of my whole situation. I try to avoid knitting her patterns because I'm usually like the largest size, which kind of blows, to be honest. People talk about it all the time, but it doesn't make it any like less true. I don't like being the largest size. I'm not largest. I shouldn't be the largest size. So I had this pattern already in my library because I knitted a couple years ago, and I felt like it was a perfect the gauge of this yarn, which was kind of like a heavy fingering, matched the gauge of this sweater perfectly, and it was the only sweater I had in my library that matched the gauge, so I cast it on. But all that said, I wouldn't go out of my way to seek a Petite knit pattern. But look at the yarn, it's so beautiful. So this is Yarn Hero, which was local to me in Maryland where I used to live. It's stunning. I mean, the colors are stunning. So this is like a fractal spin. It's just like Spin Cycle. I'm sure neither company would like me saying that, but it is a fractal spun mill spun yarn. And it is hand dyed in the wool and then spun. So almost identical to Spin Cycle's method. And it was local to me. She had like a local mill spin it. So it was a very local processed yarn, which I loved, and I bought so much because she had these beautiful mill ends that she would just have like oodles and oodles of at Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival and Maryland Alpaca Festival. So I'm just looking in my bag to show you. I've got like oodles of these little mill ends. So I think to start this sweater, I had like 400 grams, like maybe a little bit less, and all I have left now is this. Let's see. This, so I hope it's enough. These are each like around 50 grams, so I have like probably 150 grams left to finish my sweater. Oops, there's my cat. And I really hope that's enough. I am loving knitting with this yarn. It's not my first time. I've knit a tee with it as well, and all of it's like this fun stripiness. And I do feel like these colors, maybe they won't be the most like flattering against my skin, but they are very much in like my winter color palette and my fall color palette. I just wish that this yarn was a little thicker, because that's why I really put it down. I'm like cruising on this despite the fact that it is mostly purling. I'm like cruising. Like, I've done the whole yoke. I split for sleeves. I'm like inches into the body, and I definitely wanted to make this a cropped sweater to hit like above my high-rise jeans. So I'm really close, actually. So despite the fact that like I have only what looks like 4 inches on the body, I'm actually very close to finishing this and getting to the ribbing. But I do fear this will not be worked on probably until it gets warmer a little bit. Maybe till April or May. I want to knit a couple warm weather sweaters before I circle back to this one. Like, I want to finish like 2 or 3 worsted weight sweaters, because that's what's seasonally appropriate here, unlike my last place, which is kind of cool. So this one, I'm knitting the size 2XL. I'm using size 4 needles for the entire sweater, which is part of the reason it's taking so long. I didn't make any modifications to it though. I knitted exactly to pattern. And I do like that, like, it fits really nicely. My other Ankers cardigan that I knit does fit me really nicely. So that's that on that. And this has been on my needles for months. All right, 3 more things. One of them I like completely forgot about so much that I didn't even make like a little graphic for it, but that's my cat. But let's go ahead and show it anyway. So like some of these projects, like if you've been around my channel, you've definitely seen adjacent projects to this. My cats are about to fight and scrap. They're screaming. Anyways, like I said, if you've been around my channel before, you know like I like to make these little kindness monster guys. So I'll put maybe a photo of like a finished one, but this is like a husk of a kindness monster guy. So I've got like his 2 little ears and his little husk. And then I stopped and stalled on this one because I didn't have a tapestry needle, and you need a tapestry needle to knit like his little limbs. this is a pattern by Rachel Borello, Carroll. Like I said, if you are familiar with my channel, you know that I made like a bajillion of these last year. So I got some requests for them for Christmas, and I also got some Christmas gifts that I need to like say thank you for, and I figured the best way to do that is to mail little kindness monsters to everybody. So I'm using the leftover yarn from my original Throwover, actually, which is Feederbrook Farm, and they also had mill ends at Maryland Sheep and Wool, which were, you know, you can tell they're like cute and like fadey, right? They change color. So I figured it'd be a cute little guy, and I managed to get his whole little body out of one little scrap so he kind of matches. And then I figured I'd make his little hat purple. But yeah, if you are gonna be around my channel, expect to see like 5 or 6 of these this year, because I feel like they're such cute gifts. Like, they really are. I would be so happy to get one of these in the mail. But I can't, because I'm not gonna mail it to myself. But somebody could mail one to me. You never know. This is, I'm just gonna keep chugging along because we're really close. So this is the Simple Thing by Melina Brell, and this is knit in Countess Ablaze yarn. I have the, oh, I just had the tag. Where did it go? Yeah, this is Countess Ablaze. It's like Lord Kitchener fingering, which is like BFL silk blend, and it's so beautiful. I hope that the color's coming through like on the screen. It's very shiny thanks to the high silk content, because it's like half and half silk. I started this as a Christmas gift, and then I realized that it wasn't a good fit for like the recipient I intended. It just like wasn't their style, like it wouldn't fit in their wardrobe. So I kind of put a pin in it, and I knit them. Like, the person, she was like she's like a sportier kind of person. So I knit her like a little athletic like gator cowl, because I figured this might be, it's like kind of too, just like not her sporty style, like a little too like elegant. So I want to finish it still, but it's not my style. I hope to find a recipient for this. Like, maybe it will sit in my house till next Christmas, like, who's to say. But it is very beautiful yarn. Yeah, that's, you can really see it there in the light. It's very, very beautiful yarn with a lot of depth to the color. So somebody needs to wear this. It's not my style. It's not, somebody will find it useful. And so I was knitting this out of the fingering weight, and this is like, I split into 2 50-gram balls. And this is the end of the first 50-gram ball. And my initial plan was to knit 2 of these and give them both away for Christmas, but then I couldn't find anyone like who would fit this. So I just completely stopped my plan. I don't think I'll be able to get through the rest of my decreases with my little 5 grams here. So I'll probably have to break into this ball, which like is annoying because I specifically planned it to be 2 50-gram balls, but that's just how the yarn cookie crumbles. Check out my cute little bag. This is from Cottontail Farms, which again was local to me in Maryland. Man, Maryland had a lot of good knitting stuff. I'm gonna miss a lot of it. I haven't really learned much about kind of New England fibery things yet, but I was really sad to leave that aspect of Maryland behind. So anyway, let's go on to the grand finale, which, like I said, if you've been on my channel like a year ago, you've seen this sweater. Otherwise, you may not have, because I literally haven't worked on it. So this has been on my needles for like 360 days ish, and it's my husband's sweater. So this is the Flax sweater by Tin Can Knits. This is something that I've shown on this channel like an embarrassing amount of times, and every time I show it, it looks like a little bit different, but not that different, right? So it is what it is. I mean, oh yeah, I took the needles. No, the needles are here. Okay, so I haven't picked this up since probably September-ish. This is a gift for my husband. It was initially going to be a gift for our first wedding anniversary, which has come and gone 6 months ago. So, whoopsies. But, sorry about fixing it. This is the Flax. This is by Tin Can Knits. It's a free pattern. A lot of people have knit this sweater. I'd be shocked if you've never heard of it before. This is knit in Berocco Vintage DK, and the colorway is like Cerulean or something like that. Yeah, Cerulean. And this is size 3X. So my husband is like a tall man. He's like 6'2", like he's like a big dude. So this has been like a labor of love. The fabric is lovely. So just to preface about the yarn, I've knit with this yarn before. I really like it. I've knit myself a whole sweater out of it, a Jessie Maed sweater, and it's like so nice because it's partial acrylic blend, so it's machine washable, so I could wear that sweater to like work, no issue, you know, which I used to work in childcare. The yarn is not the issue. The choice I made, I made a terrible decision. I was looking at the prices of the Berocco Vintage versus the Berocco Vintage DK. So there's like an Aran and a DK. And the price difference between knitting a sweater for my husband in the Aran and the sweater for my husband in the DK was like, I think like $35. And I was like, man, I can save 35 bucks if I just knit this sweater on thinner yarn because there's like more yardage per ball. And then I didn't finish the sweater because the yarn is too thin. Like I can't knit an entire men's 3X sweater on size 5 needles. Like that was so stupid. So I should have just like splurged the extra 35 bucks and I would have been finished with this on size 8 needles like literally months ago. But here we are, as they say here on Cape Cod, here we are. And I'm almost done with one sleeve. And I haven't started the second sleeve, and I knit the body to a length that would be appropriate for myself, and it is inches too short. Like it's like above his belly button. So I could knit an entire second sweater for myself, or I could knit this entire sweater. Like in the time it's going to take me to knit this one sweater, I could knit 2 for myself. That's probably the biggest reason it's been on hold here. But my husband did ask about it. He was like very sweet. He did ask. He was like, are you gonna finish that? So I think I like kind of have to now. So I guess this kind of bumps up in my queue despite my wishes. But I don't know. He's sweet. I don't want to deprive him of a sweater. But anyways, that's everything I've been making and working on in the past months that I haven't finished. If you watched my Everything I Knit in 2025, you saw all the stuff I did finish, and it was kind of a lot of stuff, so that's cool. But stick around to my channel. We have fun here. The world is like falling apart around us, so this is a safe space for you and anyone else, and especially those who are like currently being marginalized. Please subscribe to my channel, and thanks so much for watching.